Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Time for convening has arrived. The Senate will come to order. All unauthorized visitors, please exit the chamber at this time. Chair recognizes the senator from the 28th. Reading of the journal.
Good morning, Mr. President. We got a fine Tuesday morning. On this day in 1786, Abraham Baldwin was selected the president of the University of Georgia. Go Dogs. And today is actually National Crab Rangoon Day. Who knew? All right, we got a great lineup of pages today. We got Jackson Gilbo out of Dallas, Callie Sapp out of Grovetown, Wade Haynes out of the poultry capital of the world, Gainesville, Georgia. We got Amon Cook from Atlanta, Gavin Fidanza Lusk out of Canton, Sanhita Ponze out of Alpharetta, Seth Parks from Milledgeville, Caroline Sutton from Demarest, Victor Walker from Norcross, and Anna Crook from Perry. Y'all give our pages a big round of applause. We appreciate y'all being here serving our great state. We look forward to working with you. Mr. President, we got a lot of groups here today. So I went ahead and read the journal, and I found it to be correct.
All right. Is there objection to dispensing of the reading of the journal? Chair hears none. The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there objection to confirmation of the journal? Chair hears none. The journal is confirmed. All senators who have bills and resolutions to introduce, please bring them to the Secretary's desk at this time. First reading and references of Senate bills and resolutions.
Senate Bill 486 by Senator Williams of the 25th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 18 of Title 43 of the OCGA relating to funeral
Regulated
directors.
industries.
Senate Bill 487 by Senator Lucas of the 26th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 7 of Chapter
Health
4.
and Human Services.
Senate Bill 488 by Senator Summers of the 13th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 1 of Article 2 of Chapter 5 of Title 48 of the OCGA.
Finance.
Senate Bill 489 by Senator Goodman of the 8th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 3 of Chapter 3 of Title 50.
Economic Development.
Senate Bill 490 by Senator Cowser of the 46th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Title 40 of the OCGA relating to motor
Public
vehicles.
Safety.
Senate Bill 491 by Senator Brass of the 28th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 26,
Health and
482.
Human Services.
Senate Bill 492 by Senator Williams of the 25th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 5 of Article 22 of Chapter 2 of
Education
Title.
and Youth.
Senate Bill 493 by Senator Hatchett of the 50th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 1 of Title 42 of the OCGA relating to sexual offender.
Judiciary.
That completes the order, Mr. President.
First reading and references of House bills.
House Bill 300 by Representative Kelly of the 16th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 4 of Article 1 of Chapter 3 of Title 46 of the OCGA.
Regulated interests.
House Bill 461 by Representative Thomas of the 21st and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 1.
Finance.
House Bill 516 by Representative McCollum of the 30th and others.
Transportation.
House Bill 576 by Representative Gullett of the 19th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 31 of the OCGA relating to general provisions regarding health so as to prohibit certain healthcare providers and facilities from
Health and Human Services.
House Bill 809 by Representative Powell of the 33rd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 28 of Title 40.
Regulated industries.
House Bill 977 by Representative LaHood of the 175th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 2.
Ethics.
House Bill 984 by Representative Limson of the 12th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Titles 25.
Insurance and labor.
House Bill 997 by Representative Corbett of the 174th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code
Public
Section.
safety.
House Bill 1022 by Representative Saints of the 180th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 5 of Chapter 5 of Title 16 of the OCGA.
Judiciary.
House Bill 1025 by Representative Ridley of the 22nd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act.
State and local government.
House Bill 1033 by Representative Leverett of the 123rd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to.
Judiciary.
House Bill 1044 by Representative Anderson of the 10th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 10 of Title 13 of the OCGA relating to contracts for public works so as to increase the dollar value of certain public works. Contracts exempt from
Government
provisions.
oversight.
House Bill 1135 by Representative Hatchett of the 155th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to provide
State
for.
and local government.
House Bill 1140 by Representative Smith of the 18th, and a bill to be
State and
entitled.
local government.
House Bill 1141 by Representative Hagan of the 156th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to
State and
provide.
local government.
House Bill 1143 by Representative Hagan of 156 and others, a bill to be entitled an act to
State
provide.
and local government.
House Bill 1145 by Representative Scoggins of the 14th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act to provide for a homestead exemption from certain Bartow County School
State
District.
and local government.
House Bill 1174 by Representative Smith of the 138th, the bill to be entitled an act to amend an act to create Harris County Public
State and
Improvement.
local government.
That completes the order, Mr. President.
Secretary Reed, report of standing committees.
Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Health and Human Services has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation: that Senate Resolution 542 do pass and Senate Bill 293 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Watson of the 1st District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Judiciary has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation: that Senate Bill 182 do pass by substitute, Senate Bill 421 do pass by substitute, Senate Bill 407 do pass, Senate Bill 440 do pass, House Bill 404 do pass, Senate Bill 427 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Strickland of the 17th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on SLOGO has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation: that Senate Bill 439 do pass, Senate Bill 453 do pass, House Bill 956 do pass, House Bill 1012 do pass, House Bill 1016 do pass, House Bill 1042 do pass, House Bill 1071 do pass, House Bill 1074 do pass, House Bill 1013 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Ginn of the 47th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Secretary will read bills and resolutions for the second time.
Senate Bill 360 by Senator Hickman of the 4th and others, capital outlay funds used for educational facilities for voluntary pre-kindergarten programs provided by the school system provide. Senate Bill 395 by Senator Dixon of the 45th and others, education, the possession of opioid antagonists in school is authorized. That completes the order, Mr. President.
It is now time for the morning roll call. Are there any motions to excuse? Senator from the 33rd.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, y'all. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senators from the 38th, 44, 5, 42, and 39th, and the 2nd for business inside the Capitol.
Senator, do we need to starting a little later in the day? Is that would that help out with things? Huh? Without objection, senators from 38th, 44th, 5th, 42nd, 39th, and the 2nd will be excused. Senator from the 29th.
Mr. President, I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 27th for business inside the Capitol.
Without objection, senator from 27th is excused. Any other motions to excuse? Secretary will call the roll. Senator from the 45th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 31st.
31st. Without objection, the senator from 31st is excused. Secretary will call the roll. Senator, signify your presence by voting the yea switch. Secretary, unlock the machine. It is now time for the morning devotion. All senators, please take your seats to cease all conversation. I would ask that the doorkeeper secure the chamber at this time. I now recognize my good friend from the 26th District to lead us in our pledge and introduce our chaplain of the day. Senator?
Thank you, Mr. Governor. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce the pastor of the day, a former student of mine. Pledge to the flag of the United States. The Georgia flag. Pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag, for the principle of which it stands, wisdom, justice, moderation, and courage. Now we get to the business. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce the pastor of the day, Reverend David Stanley, who's been pastoring at Union Baptist Church in Macon for 36 years. A former student of mine, carries a great message, and I'd just like for him to share it with us today. Reverend Stanley.
Thank you, Senator Lucas, to Lieutenant Governor Jones, and to all of the senators who are here representing your various districts, to the visitors who are in the gallery. Allow me to say that from a biblical perspective, and I dare not come, amen, to deliver any kind of sermon or leave with a collection, amen. But from a biblical perspective, the Bible says that God ordained three institutions: the family/home, the church, and the government. And so I want you gentlemen and ladies to consider yourselves dearly blessed, consider yourselves servants of God himself, who created all of us in his glorious image. As a pastor, I take care of spiritual things for those who voluntarily come to church. As senators, you represent the government, and certainly it is your job to see about the government, to see about politics, to make sure that the least of these are represented, to make sure that our great country, our great democracy is able to stand and fight off all enemies, both foreign as well as the domestic. And so I challenge you, I encourage you. Many times your job is a thankless job. Many times you fall under heavy criticism, just like I do as a pastor. Many times, no matter what you try to do, is never the right thing, and you end up second-guessing yourself. But just know this, as I make ready to close us out in prayer, just know once again that God has chosen you as ministers to, keep our world in a good place, to make sure that citizenship is represented in the right way, to make sure that genders and races and people are treated with equality, and to make sure that the laws and the things that you represent, that they represent all of us, so that all of us, whether young or old, whether rich or poor, will have the opportunity to be successful. After all, that's all a man wants in life on this side of the grave. He might believe in heaven on the other side, but he want to get a taste of it on this side also. So I salute you, I cherish you, I bless you, I respect you, I honor you for the great work that you do representing the state of Georgia. With that said, let us pray. Father God, we thank you now for this day. We thank you for these men and women that represent us as senators in this great state known as Georgia. We pray you will continue to bless them with good health, with a soundness of mind. Give them courage, give them respect one for another, and help them, our Father, to pass laws that will represent all of your children. Now bless this session as they go forward and give them a glorious day. In Christ's name we do pray, And all of God's children said amen.
It is. It's always good to have our doctors of the day, physicians that come down here and volunteer their time, and very nice to have one of our proud Athens, Georgia physicians that are here today. And I would like to call on the senator from the 46 to introduce our doc of the day. Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my honor today to introduce you all to Dr. Teresa Rohr-Kirchgraber. She is on the faculty at the Augusta University UGA Medical Partnership in Athens. Comes to us all the way from Los Angeles, California. I noticed in some of her expertise as she does primary care for adults and adolescents, especially those that are childhood cancer survivors. So she's an angel here on earth with us. She also emphasizes wellness and prevention of diseases and eating disorders, which may be good for all of us in our overeating that we are engaged in about this time of the session. Let me introduce to you Dr. Teresa Rohr-Kirchgraber.
Well, thank you. It's always an honor to be here and to work with you all. And just this morning, I believe the Board of Regents is voting on the creation of the medical school that will be part of the UGA medical campus. So keeping my fingers crossed and looking forward to the next few years. Thank you.
We have some very special guests here today, and always appreciate our gentlemen representing the Psi Phi fraternity here to coming down, and the Omegas from all across the state here. So I recognize, Secretary, read the resolution, please.
Senate Resolution 466 by Senator Harbison of the 15th. A resolution recognizing and commending Marvin Broadwater Sr. and for other purposes. Whereas Marvin Broadwater Sr. is a meritorious member of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, the first fraternity founded at a historically black college, and is active with the Lambda Iota chapter, a prominent service organization serving Columbus, Georgia. And whereas Omega's Lambda Iota chapter is a premier civic and charitable volunteer organization with impactful community programs, the Omega Lamplighters, a distinguished mentoring program in the city of Columbus, and the Robert L. Anderson Purple and Gold Golf Tournament, which generates thousands of dollars for college scholarships each year. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body recognize and commend Marvin Broadwater Sr. for his extraordinary accomplishments, Omega Psi Phi fraternity leadership, and dedicated public service to the state of Georgia, as well as extend best wishes for continued leadership excellence and community service endeavors as a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to the adoption of resolution? Chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. I'll call on the Dean of the Senate, Senator from the 15th, to speak to the resolution. Senator?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to be here today to represent these gentlemen behind me, especially one who is my constituent from Columbus, Georgia. And I could read what you heard her read, but I got to say this. You know, service is a great calling, especially when you see it exemplified in the guise of somebody who served his country internationally in combat, who served this country with the United States Army, who served this country when he got back as a civilian, who served this country, who has a lot of young men that he's molding their minds in a Christian atmosphere, in a service atmosphere, but just doing it the way it should be done in a godly kind of context. Just heartwarming to see that. And that is epitomized in the guise of my good friend, Sergeant Broadwater. And I just want you to hear him a few minutes talk about his great works works that he's doing, that we embrace, that should be duplicated across the country, no, across the world, because he's making such a great, wonderful impact. So let's welcome my good friend, Sergeant Marvin Broadwater, Sr. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. Good morning. Protocol having been established, I will be very quick this morning. First, I want to say thank you to Mr. President and especially to Senator Harbison. I've been in Columbus 21 years. When I got there, you might know Mr. Calvin Smyrie. He was one of my mentors. And over the years, these two have mentored me and made sure that I gave back. And I think you understand what service is, because that's what you're doing here. And I would ask you to continue to do service. Continue to think about the citizens of this great state, not just in the metro, not just in Savannah, not just in Douglasville, but think about Camilla, Georgia, Pelham, Georgia, Bakerton, Georgia, the towns across this state that have the citizens that where they only have 32, like Willacoochee, Georgia. Think about those towns. Those towns have young men in them that need mentoring. So whenever a bill comes across your desk that has to do with mentoring, I would ask that you really consider that. Again, I want to thank all of you for doing what you're doing. It makes a difference. And on behalf of all the Omega men in the state of Georgia, we thank you for these resolutions. God bless you, and you have a blessed day.
Oh,
He ran away on us.
we got one more. We got one more here. The good senator from the 33rd. Can't believe we missed him. So I'm gonna blame that on the dean. All right.
Don't forget Senator Redd. Thank you, my fellow senators, Mr. President, colleagues, friends, these distinguished gentlemen, and y'all. Today, on Tuesday, February 13th, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated will hold its annual Omega Day at the Capitol. As Omega men from around the great state of Georgia will meet in Atlanta to hold workshops on pertinent legislative issues. Omega Psi Phi Fraternity was the first African-American fraternity founded at the historically black university 113 years ago on the campus of Howard University in Washington, D.C. Its membership includes luminaries such as Dr. Ernest E. Just, Omega Psi Phi co-founder and the first recipient of the NAACP Spring Arm Award, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black History Month, which we celebrate this month, February, William Hastings, the first African-American federal judge, Dr. Charles Drew, who is credited for creating large-scale blood banks that saved many lives in World War II, and Congressman Hank Johnson, Representative Omari Crawford, and former Representative Calvin Smyrie also are Omega men. Once Omega, always Omega. Today, members of the Georgia State Senate recognizes the 5 outstanding members of Omega Psi Phi, 4 from District 33, which is my district. Charles McCord, Cobb County Schools Foundation 2023 Volunteer of the Year. Kyle Jones, will you raise your hand as I call your name? Kyle Jones, Georgia Technology Authority 2023 Mentorship Award. Julius Abraham, 2023 Omega Man of the Year in Cobb County. And D. Orlando Ledbetter, who was honored last June as Georgia's Sports Writer of the Year by the National Sports Media Association for 2022. And from District 15, Columbus, Omega Man of the Year, Marvin Broadwater Sr. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Good job. We do have another group here from Mercer law students here, but before we introduce them, recognize a longtime member here of the Senate, Senator Don Balfour is here today. Everybody give Senator Balfour a hand. Longtime member of the Senate, longtime employee, owners of Waffle House, everything. You've done everything at Waffle House, I think. So, but are you retired now, Senator? Kinda, sorta. They won't let you go. They won't let you give it up yet here. But anyway, good man, wonderful to serve with. I'm glad to have you here, Senator. So, but now on to our special guest here. Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Resolution 545 by Senators Kennedy of the 18th and others. A resolution commending the Mercer University School of Law upon its 150th anniversary and recognizing February 13th, 2024 as Mercer Law Day at the state capitol and for other purposes. Whereas Mercer Law's mission is to make a positive difference in the lives of students by developing their potential for premier leadership, personal growth, and career success through legal education. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend the Mercer University School of Law for its contribution to the welfare of this state and nation and recognize February 13, 2024 as Mercer Law Day at the state capitol. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. I'd like to call on Mercer alum and President Pro Tem of this body, the Senator from the 18th, to introduce our special guest.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, friends, colleagues, and folks in the gallery. It's a little bit of a pride this morning I bring to honor the Mercer University School of Law for their 150th anniversary. 150th anniversary. As one of the oldest law schools in the United States, Mercer Law has proven not only to have award-winning curriculum, but also to be on the leading edge of innovation when it comes to teaching and academia, and of course producing great practitioners that go throughout the United States to practice law. Mercer Law provides more than 24 student groups and organizations and holds the title for one of the most exceptional mock trial programs in the country. The commitment of Mercer Law's close-knit alumni base showcases the commitment and incredible support there is for the students. As I said, it produces great practitioners that practice around Georgia and also a lot of judges that serve on our courts. Today we're pleased to have in the chamber Ellie Gravitt, Caitlin Farillo, Blake Williamson, Olivia Durkin, and Professor Michael McNeil behind me. In just a moment, I'm going to ask one of them to step forward and say a word if they want to. And additionally, I think in the gallery, we have Jackson Laddie and Hunter Wallace. Are you in the gallery? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe not. All right, couldn't make it. Anyway, on behalf of the Georgia State Senate, I'm truly honored to present Mercer University of Law with this Senate resolution for recognizing this day as Mercer Law Day. And of course, I would have a hard time going home this weekend if I didn't recognize and acknowledge my son, Will, who is a first-year law student at Mercer. I'm very proud of him. Senate colleagues, please join me in commending Mercer University School of Law for their tremendous achievements in preparing the future legal professionals for this great state. And with that, who would like to? Michael? Professor McNeil, join us.
Thank you very much, President Jones, President Pro Tem Kennedy, for having us here for this resolution and for honoring Mercer Law School. It's been a pleasure and an honor, and thank you to these wonderful law students who are joining me today.
That wasn't you, that was for them. All right, great. Okay, yeah. Good job. Good job. Thank you.
we got some real athletes here with us today. We've got the Cedartown High cheerleading state champions here today. So, Secretary, read the resolution.
Senate Resolution 479 by Senator Anna Vitarte of the 31st and others. A resolution congratulating the Cedartown High School Game Day cheerleaders for winning the GHSA 3A4A Division State Game Day Cheerleaders 2023 Championship and for other purposes. Whereas the phenomenal performance of the group is a clear indication of the outstanding athletic ability, dedication, hard work, and unity of purpose and spirit of each member of the team. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body congratulate the Cedartown High School Game Day cheerleaders for winning the GHSA 3A4A Division State Game Day Cheerleaders Championship and extend best wishes for their continued success. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. Recognize the senator from the 31st to introduce our special guest. And it's good to have Representative Kelly up here. And Senator?
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning. It's a pretty awesome morning. As the father of cheerleaders, of a cheerleader, former cheerleaders, and my wife is a cheerleading coach at North Paulding High School. Winning starts with the belief that it can happen, and it's followed by the willpower to make it happen. Today I have the privilege of recognizing the game day cheerleaders from Cedartown, Georgia. As they would say, go dogs. Is that right? Here's a couple of facts about them. They started in the fall of 2022, so it's a relatively new program. Katie Abrams is their head coach. They came in third at the state finals last year, which was the first year that Cedartown High School competed in game day cheer. And it is not an easy feat, I can tell you that from watching my kids. Evaluated in 2 categories of crowd leading and band cheer and fight song with a total score of 93.43. The Cedartown High School Lady Bulldogs won the 3A4A state championship for game day cheer on December 8th of 23. We are so proud of these ladies. We are proud of Cedartown High School, and I know a lot of folks, you think about football and basketball and, all the athletic things that go on where, cheerleaders, quote unquote, accompany them, those teams. I can tell you that cheerleading is a thriving sport in the state of Georgia and nationally, and these ladies deserve all the recognition that they deserve from Cedartown, Georgia. I do want to recognize, again, their coach, Katie, Navia Blyden, Stephanie Lopez, Deontay Williams, and Representative Trey Kelly. Every once in a while, we'll let a House member sit up here on the dais in the Senate. So, Representative Kelly, feel blessed that we're letting you stand up here today. Yeah, privilege, I'm sorry, big words. But congratulate these cheerleaders from Cedartown. Thank you.
Hop on up here.
Hi, I'm the coach for the Cedartown Bulldogs, and I would just like to thank Representative Trey Kelly for inviting us here and to let you all know what an honor it is to be here in front of you and to represent Cedartown High School and the Cedartown Bulldogs. So thank you for this opportunity.
All right, it's Farm Bureau Day today, and always good to have the leadership of Georgia Farm Bureau here with us. Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Resolution 519 by Senator Goodman of the 8th and others. A resolution recognizing February 13, 2024 as Georgia Farm Bureau Federation Day at the state capitol and for other purposes. Whereas from its humble beginnings in northwest Georgia, the Georgia Farm Bureau Federation has grown to 158 county chapters with a current membership of more than 235,000 led by volunteer farmer members. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body recognize February 13th, 2024 as Georgia Farm Bureau Federation Day at the state capitol. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objections to the adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. I recognize the good senator, the blueberry farmer from Lowndes County, Georgia, to introduce our special guest here.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Farm Bureau Day at the Capitol. It's a great day. God bless our farmers. God bless Farm Bureau. 235,000 members across the state, 158 counties. Tom McCall, my president, y'all know he was chairman of the House Ag Committee for a long time, fraternity brother of mine, and Senator Watson's and Senator Ginn's, doing a phenomenal job representing our state's farmers. But I will say that the First Lady of Farm Bureau, Miss Jane, is doing an even better job. So, y'all, but we appreciate everything that your organization does on behalf of our state's #1 industry, and I appreciate you for being a very good friend and mentor to me, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Mr. President.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Senators. We appreciate every one of y'all for what you do. Thank you for listening to ag issues, and thank you for voting with us on most ag issues. I tell folks all the time, if you like to eat, wear clothes, and live in a shelter, then we are the ones that provide that to you. Georgia's #1 industry is agriculture, and Georgia Farm Bureau is the biggest ag organization in the state of Georgia. And by being a member of Georgia Farm Bureau, you're automatically a member of American Farm Bureau, which is the largest ag organization in the United States. And we, as our purpose says, represent farmers in the legislative arena. And I just want to say thank you. Today, I have my first Vice President, Mr. Daniel Johnson from down in Pierce County, and the Middle Georgia Vice President, Mr. Ralph Caldwell from over in Hurd. And you heard the chairman bragging on my boss behind me. But y'all are all welcome to come down to the depot at lunch and eat. We have a good program set up for you. We have roughly 250,000 members across the state and some 1,200 or 1,300 employees across the state. So each and every one of y'all have one of our people or a bunch of our people in your district. So we appreciate what you do for ag, and thank y'all for serving. I know how much of a thankless job it is. So I want to say thank y'all. We appreciate you.
Good job. Are there any unanimous consents? Does any senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? Recognize the senator from the 29th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Friends and colleagues, I rise today to point out one of the major reasons why Georgia is the #1 state to do business in. Several years ago, an auto manufacturer moved to West Georgia in what we thought would be some kind of experiment, something new, something never tried before in this great state, and it has been a rousing success. It has been incredible. Kia is in Georgia, and it is phenomenal. And there's a few things I want to point out about Kia. Is Kia, on the Kia campus there in West Point in my district, District 29, there are 6,000 jobs affected by Kia on the campus. Outside of the campus, that number doubles, triples, and moves forward with all the suppliers and others that have moved there to support that phenomenal operation. You each have a small token of their appreciation on your desk. If you look at it, it's a small model of a Kia. What you're supposed to do is take that small vehicle, go to your nearest Kia dealership, and tell them you want one just like that. They'll let you decide the color, but that'll help you get further down the road. Also in that bag is an invitation to the Kia Day reception, which is this evening from 5 to 7 at the College Football Hall of Fame here in Atlanta. But the important thing to understand, I know there's a small automobile manufacturer going in over near Savannah, and I think their greatest hope is to be as successful as Kia is in West Georgia. Friends, Kia may be from Korea, but they are Georgia. They understand the importance of community. They understand the importance of treating their employees good and compassionate. They pay well. They offer great benefits, and Kia is Georgia. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well. Briefly, I would like to recognize the CEO of Kia, Stuart Countess, who's up in the gallery, along with his support team. Thank y'all and have a great day.
I recognize the senator from the 34th.
Good morning. I rise today in honor of Black History Month. Do we get a month or just a week? I don't think we get that long. We get the whole month. We used to get Black History Week. But today, my Black history is on this gentleman. His name, C.E. Johnson Sr. Thank you. C.E. Johnson Sr., as you can see, he served his country first and foremost in the United States Army. He came back to Georgia after serving to his wife and family. He was the father of 10 children, and this is his wife. Yes, this fair lady bared 10 children. They lived in the Pittsburgh community right here in Atlanta after moving up from Athens, Georgia. A real Georgian, serving his country, taking care of his family. Next, I just want to show you my last one. These are his 10 children. I am so proud to stand in this body acknowledging Black history in my family. C.E. Johnson was my grandfather. My mother was number 7 of 10. We are proud Georgians, and I know right now he is so proud to say one of his is standing in this chamber on this day in Black history, acknowledging his legacy that has been passed on, and to be able to stand here and honor him is such an honor. Thank you, Mr. President. I'll yield the well.
Thank you, Senator. I recognize Senator from the 25th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today is Butts County Day here at the Capitol, which also happens to be the hometown of our esteemed Lieutenant Governor. If we could have y'all stand up, Butts County leadership, Butts, and we also have our County Commission Chair, Russ Crumbly, with them. Thank y'all for being here.
Butts County Day. It's a good day. I knew there was a presence of great people in the room right now, so I appreciate y'all being here today. Always good to have. I think this might be about the 10th year in a row. I don't know, where's Lisa might be up there. She could tell us, but yeah, so this is quite a few. So thank y'all for being here again. Thank you, Senator, for recognizing I'm here. I recognize the Senator from the 21st.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today's a great day in my home state. I want to wish everybody a happy Fat Tuesday and a happy Mardi Gras. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will.
The Raging Cajun, BLB. Recognize the Senator from the 6th.
Good morning, colleagues. It is my pleasure this morning to recognize 9 to 5 Georgia, a nonpartisan organization working towards economic equity for working women and their families. Women comprise more than half of Georgia's adult population, and women are the primary and co-breadwinners in more than half of all Georgia households with children, making up over 65% of the low-wage essential worker workforce. Research has shown that policy solutions such as salary transparency, increased paid sick days and paid leave, accessible and affordable childcare, accessible and affordable health care, stable housing, great transportation quality options, and workplace protections are all known to have a positive impact on women and families and would boost Georgia's economy by billions of dollars. We have dozens of constituents here this morning advocating on behalf of this agenda, and I'd like to recognize them. So if you are here with 9 to 5 Georgia, please stand. Colleagues, please join me in welcoming 9 to 5 Georgia to the state capitol. Mr. President, I yield the well.
Recognize Senator from the 8th.
There we go. Thank you, Mr. President. To our friends from Butts County, I want you to know I'm the senator that went down there and did the radio, Elvis radio show with Lieutenant Governor Jones, and I tell you something, you got a great American down there in Don Earnhardt. I appreciate it, Don. I asked him if he was related to Dale Earnhardt. He said no, but I have implied it before when I was trying to get my rooms down at Daytona for the race. So I enjoyed that. But no, Mr. President, just wanted to take the opportunity to talk about something that's happening down in my district today in Valdosta. Today we have NBA Hall of Famer Alonzo Mourning in South Georgia to take part in the unveiling of the Ashbrit Foundation Gym. For those of you who may not know of Alonzo Mourning's story, he's a man that faced a lot of adversity growing up, but he had people throughout his childhood who invested their time and talents in him. With a God-given talent to play basketball, he leveraged his abilities to have an amazing collegiate and pro basketball career. Throughout his life, even though he achieved wealth and fame, adversity continued to find him when he was diagnosed with a rare kidney disease that forced him to retire from basketball. Having that never-give-up attitude that had been the catalyst to propel him throughout his life, he again had someone to invest in him when his cousin donated a kidney to him, and through hard work and determination, he was able to recover and return to professional basketball. Much like Alonzo Mourning, our community of Valdosta and the greater South Georgia area have faced a lot of adversity lately with Hurricane Idalia and the devastation it brought. One of the victims of the storm was our local Valdosta Boys and Girls Club gym. After the storm, where floodwaters warped the floors and brought mold growth, we didn't know if or when we'd be able to repair and rebuild the gym that serves over 500 of our children and teens on a daily basis. But thankfully, Ashbrit, who managed all the disaster and debris removal operations in the cities of Valdosta, Dasher, Remerton, as well as all of Lowndes County, Georgia, are very active in their philanthropic endeavors as well through the Ashbrit Foundation. Besides helping communities to recover from natural disasters all over the country, they've reinvested over $10 million back into those communities through their foundation. I'm thankful that they chose to reinvest in our community by paying to rebuild our local Boys and Girls Club gym. I hate that due to our legislative work, I can't be there with them today, be there with Mr. Mourning and the team at Ashbrit for the unveiling of the new gym. But please know that I'm thankful for your presence in our community today and the significant investment you've made in the lives of our young people. Just like when Alonzo Mourning thought his career was over and a generous gift helped him rise like a phoenix out of the ashes, the gift the Ashbrit Foundation has given to the kids in our community has done the same thing for our local Boys and Girls Club. They say the investments we make in people yield the greatest dividends. I have no doubt the investment the Ashbrit Foundation has made will yield dividends in the lives of our young people for a long time to come, and our community is grateful for it. Mr. President, I yield the will.
Recognize the senators from the 45th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today is after school day at the Capitol. We've got some of the folks from Georgia's statewide after school networks here with us at the Capitol today. In its second year, Boost funding supported 93 community organizations, 4 statewide grantees across 112 of our 159 counties here in Georgia. Boost grantees operated over 1,400 after-school sites serving almost 80,000 youth during the 2022 and 2023 academic year. And also 639 summer program sites serving almost 87,000 youth during the summer. These programs have helped kids improve their learning, including literacy, math, provide access to mental health support, and opportunities to build workforce skills and explore career opportunities. I believe we've got some of the folks in the gallery from the statewide after-school network. Senate colleagues, if you would recognize those folks today, thank you so much. With that, Mr. President, I yield the will.
Recognize the senator from the 32nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 37th.
Without objection, Senator from the 37th is excused. Senator, you want to speak down here in the well too? No? Okay. Yeah, actually recognize Senator from the 15th. You.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. In honor of Black History Month, I would like to highlight briefly two individuals today. The first one is Lorna Maylock. Lorna Maylock was born in 1968 in United States Marine Corps, is a United States Marine Corps general who served as commander of the Cyber National Mission Force since 2024, January this year. In 2018, she became the first black woman to be nominated for promotion to Brigadier General in the United States Marine Corps. In December 2022, she became the first black female Major General in the history of the United States Marine Corps. She was born in Kingston, Jamaica. Maylock immigrated to Brooklyn, New York, and enlisted in the Marine Corps. She served first in the United States Marine Corps after she was with the ROTC. To satisfy my good friend from the 45th, my Army brother, he wanted to know had the Army also did the same thing. The Army has appointed the first black female two-star general. Wisconsin native Marcy Anderson was promoted after a military career that spans more than 30 years. And she says she hopes her achievement inspires young service members to become leaders. Anderson actually left a year ago when she was assigned to lead the Army's Human Resources Command at Fort Knox, Kentucky. The year came to a historic end in September when she was 53 years old. Anderson became the first black woman to become a major general in the Army. Anderson's father, who was a veteran of the Korean War, traveled to Fort Knox for that ceremony. Just two outstanding women, one in the Army, one in the Marine Corps, who were promoted to Major General. Mr. President, I yield the well. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I recognize Senator from the 49th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll keep it brief. Today is special to me because my daughter drove in from the University of Georgia to spend the day with her mama, so welcome, Chloe. And then my dad is here today with the Farm Bureau from Habersham County, so I'm so thankful to have both of them here.
Recognize the Senator from the 4th.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, we have talked about so much about literacy in this chamber and all over the Capitol. I just want to give a shout out to the Savannah-Chatham County Board of Education for stepping up and appropriating $20 million for literacy. They know Mr. Roger Moss, who is chairman of the school board, they realized that they have 30 schools in their system that are in the bottom 25%. And for them to step up and do this is a great opportunity to change the lives of a lot of people. I'd like to thank Roger Moss, the chairman of the school board, the new superintendent, Ms. Denise Watts, and all the school board members for taking this leap of faith and just investing more money in our students. Also, as a part of this, they hired 2022 Teacher of the Year Cherie Goldman as a literacy effectiveness officer. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Recognize Senator from the 28th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I rise to wish my parents a happy 54th wedding anniversary. So on the off chance they're watching today, Mom might be there. She often watches. She's my biggest fan, and some days my only fan. So Again, love y'all. Happy anniversary.
Good job, good job. Recognize Senator from the 42nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today to highlight a tragedy, an avoidable tragedy, that happened in my district over the weekend. A 3-year-old baby died on Sunday because he got a hold of a gun that should have been out of his reach and shot himself in the face. Adults in his home failed him, but others, including this General Assembly, have failed him too. And he and his family are not alone. Firearms are the #1 cause of death of children in the United States and here in Georgia. An average of 161 children die by guns every year, one every other day. And these are some of the really important statistics. 73% of children under age 10 live in homes with guns and report knowing the location of the firearms in their home. 36% have handled those firearms. Many times adults feel like they've put a gun in a safe spot, and there's a major discrepancy between what adults claim on whether the gun is safe and what children self-report in terms of, yes, I know where the gun is, and yes, I've touched it. According to other statistics, fully a third of handguns are stored unlocked and loaded, and half of these accidental deaths happen at home. I'm highlighting this because in this legislature, we have the power to do good. We have that by virtue of being sent here and trusted by our constituents. And every day that we don't discuss the things that we could be doing on gun safety, we are failing these children. Every day we pledge wisdom, justice, moderation in the pledge to the Georgia flag. We've been given wisdom on this. Many other states have passed safe storage laws, and they have been shown to save lives. Here we're operating in an injustice, though. We could prevent our children, some of them at least, from injury and death by these firearms, but we are refusing to do so. And why is that? Because we are not practicing moderation. We have the power to help lower the numbers of accidental gun deaths. We need laws to clarify what gun owners' responsibilities are so that they understand them and can abide by them, and then have them know what the consequences are when they fail to follow the law. I filed SB 75, a safe storage bill, to protect our children and their families from accidents like what befell this 3-year-old shooting himself in the face. This is not to take away anyone's right or access to firearms. It is simply saying that individuals in Georgia need to exercise responsible gun ownership in the presence of minors. In honor of Georgia's children who have died or been injured by a firearm, I am calling for a hearing on SB 75 without further delay. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Recognize the Senator from the 5th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just make it short. We have a lot of days at the Capitol. Today, we also recognize the New American Day at the Capitol. I just want to give you some statistics. 1 in 10 Georgian are foreign born, and also 1 in 8 Georgian, and 1 in 5 doctors, and 1 in 5 in science and technology are foreign born professional, just like me. 1 of the 5 manufacturing worker, and half of the work in construction industries are foreign born. 20% of the businesses open up as a new business, generating more than $2.5 billion economy in the state of Georgia are immigrants like me. Half of all foreign-born Georgians are naturalized citizens. I just want you to know some of the new Georgia's American are here today at the Capitol, probably are all around this Capitol, some of them probably at the gallery. So I'll ask my friends and colleagues to give him, if you are at the gallery, please stand up if you're a new American. Some of you are refugee. If not, anyway, I was just trying to see if you're all here. I know some of them were here earlier. They're probably around the state. But anyway, just thought to let you all know today is the new American Day at the Capitol. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Recognized Senator from the 36th.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. I want to share a moment of history and recognize some guests. We have in Atlanta a unique system called neighborhood planning units. They were established under the mayorship of the esteemed Maynard Jackson. It's a very unusual structure. It's a quasi-official council, and what these neighborhood planning units do is convene the communities in their area of Atlanta to look at zoning issues, to look at neighborhood issues, to engage with people who wish to have commercial presence in their communities, or residential presence, developers, et cetera. And it's a very important citizen-driven and citizen-involved structure that was put into place in Atlanta, neighborhood planning units, and they run from A to Z, amazingly enough. Many leaders that go on to take positions on school boards, go on to take positions in city council or in city government, county government, state government, come from this very fertile soil of neighborhood planning units. It is truly an innovative and an incredible structure that we are blessed to have here in Atlanta because of the leadership and the vision of Maynard Jackson. So today we had NPU Day here in the Capitol. That's Neighborhood Planning Unit Day here in the Capitol. And they're all over the city. They're developing leadership for the next generation. They're drawing on the wisdom of the elders in the community. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm just happy to have MPUZ represented here today. I'd like to ask you to stand if you're still in the balcony. I know you've been here all morning. Thank you so much, and can we give a hand clap to applaud these citizen activists. I was with some of them on the phone last night because when you can't meet in person, you Zoom, and I want to appreciate the Representative Schofield from the House who's come to be with us as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator. Does any other senator wish to rise on point of personal privilege? You have before you a consent calendar of privilege resolutions. Does any senator wish to remove a resolution from the consent calendar? Is there objection to the adoption of the resolutions on the consent calendar? Chair hears none. The resolutions on the consent calendar are adopted. Are there any motions to withdraw or commit? Recognize the senator from the 48th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent that SB 147 be withdrawn from the general calendar and be committed to the Committee on Education and Youth.
The senator from the 48th has moved that SB 147 be withdrawn from the Committee on the general calendar and recommitted to Education and Youth. Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Bill 147, a bill by Senator Still of 48th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 6 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the OCGA relating to the Equality Basic Education Act, so as to promote student transfers between local school systems without contracts between the local school system where the student resides and the local school system where the student seeks to enroll, and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Education and Youth recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Dixon of the 45th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to the senator's motion? Hearing none, SB 147 is referred to the Committee on Education and Youth. Recognize the senator from the 35th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, unanimous consent that Senate Bill 125 be withdrawn from the Committee on State Local Government Operations and be committed to the Committee on Urban Affairs.
Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Bill 125, a bill by Senator James of the 35th, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 7 of Title 44 of the OCGA relating to landlord and tenant in general, so as to repeal Code Section 44719 and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Senator from the 53rd.
Another motion.
What purpose do you rise?
A motion, Mr. President. Motion that we...
Hold on, it's not in order yet. Let me finish this motion first. Is there objection to the senator from the 35th's motion to move her SP 125 from state and local government to urban affairs? Is there objection? Without objection, the motion is granted. Now I recognize Senator from the 53rd. What purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. I motion that we remove House Bill 206 from the general calendar and recommit it to interstate cooperation.
Motion that House Bill 206. Let me get the caption, Senator, so we can read it. Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 206. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 62 of Title 36 of the OCGA relating to development authorities so as to authorize development authorities to provide certain financing for qualifying improvements, including energy efficiency, water conservation, renewable energy, and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
All right, the senator from the 53rd has moved that HB 206 be moved from the general calendar to the esteemed interstate cooperations. So, is there objection? There is objection. All right. Senator, you speak on behalf of your motion.
Hey, thank you, Mr. President. I think this is a great motion to have this bill heard by a committee, like you said, that's esteemed. I'm the only Republican on the committee, and the rest is all Democrats on the committee, and we trust that moderation occurs in this state. So some say that I'm so conservative. You know, you put me as chairman and you have all these Democrats on the committee that by the time something leaves the committee, it will leave with moderation. So I would ask that that bill be brought into interstate cooperation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Does anyone else like to speak on behalf? Senator from the 47th.
Well, good morning, colleagues. You know, this is one of those things that I think everybody in here ought to be paying attention to what in the heck's going on. You know, today's Farm Bureau Day. I've got some folks from right home in Madison County here. They at the Capitol. We were standing out in the hall, and somebody comes out and says, "Hey, somebody's trying to hijack your bill." It's not my bill. It's a bill to help Georgians. This is a bill that really is a good bill. It's an economic development tool that I think everybody in here knows we want to promote investment in your communities. This is a bill that when it came over from the House, I will tell you, it had some problems, had a lot of issues. It was one that would have created a new development authority for every city and county in the state. Would have been the largest expansion of government that I'd ever seen. And for me, I can tell you that this is a good bill. It's gone through rules. It was supposed to be on the floor yesterday. Said they got withdrawn because of the emergency that we had. They hope to be able to work with all my colleagues in the Senate. Said that's both Republicans and Democrats, because it is a good bill that helps all communities in the state. But it's one that promotes energy efficiency, water conservation, and does so with working between an agreement between the Development Authority and the Tax Commissioner. It's one that's a good bill, and I hope that you'll help me defeat this motion to withdraw and commit. So thank you very much for your help on this today. And it just teaches me a little lesson. In the 14 years, I've never had anybody that has come up and taken action to move one of my bills from without my say-so on it. But I'll need your help to make sure we all work together to do the right thing for Georgia. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
All right. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hearing none. All those in favor of the motion from the chairman from the 53rd to have House Bill 206 removed from the general calendar and put into interstate cooperations. All those in favor of the motion will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. Senator from 47th, what purpose do you rise?
I rise to make sure that my good friends will vote red on this bill to stop this movement where it's not needed.
I'm just glad you got good friends, Senator. Senator from the 14th, what purpose do you rise?
Parliamentary agreement, Mr. President.
State your inquiry.
Mr. President, not true that I'm voting no because the verb form of motion is to move.
Senator knows what he speaks. On the motion, the yeas are 4 and the nays are 42, and the motion has failed. I recognize Senator Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 10th.
Without objection, senator from the 10th is excused. Right. We're moving to the local consent calendar. You have before you a consent calendar of local bills. Mr. Secretary, have there been any objections been filed on the local consent calendars?
Mr. President, no objections filed.
Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the Committee on State and Local Government Operations, which is favorable to the passage of the bills on the local consent calendar? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. The question is on the passage of the bills on the local consent calendar. All those in favor vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bills, the yeas are 45, the nays are 0. This bill having on the local consent calendar having received the requisite constitutional majority is therefore passed. We have before you a privilege resolution. Secretary, read the caption. Hold on one second, Secretary. Senator from the 33rd, for what purpose do you rise?
Point of order, sir. I'd like to ask to excuse the senator from the 34th for business outside the Capitol.
Without objection, the senator from the 34th is excused. Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Resolution 593 by Senator Robin on the 5th and others. A resolution recognizing February 13, 2024 as New Americans Day at the state capitol and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. Recognize Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate engross Senate Bill 340 at this time.
The Majority Leader has moved that the Senate engross SB 340. Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Bill 340, a bill by Senator Kirkpatrick of the 32nd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 4883 of the OCGA relating to exemptions from sales and use taxes so as to exempt sales of firearm safes and firearm safety devices and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Finance recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Huffstetler of the 52nd District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection? There is objection. Senator, would you like to speak to the engrossment?
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, it's tradition that we engross revenue bills for obvious reasons. If a senator wants to amend a bill in this chamber, you're free to always do so when a bill is not engrossed. The reason we engross revenue bills, for those who are watching that may not know,
It's because there could be dozens, if not unlimited numbers of amendments offered to any finance bill that has a huge, significant impact to our revenue and our budget. And so we have fiscal notes done in advance of a bill coming to the floor, so we know what a bill will do and what the impact's going to be to our state revenues and how it's going to impact the state budget, which impacts so many different parts of our state government operations. So I would give a courtesy warm offer of advice to the senator from the 53rd when he comes up to disagree with us on engrossing this bill, that if you want to introduce your own legislation, Senator, I will co-sign that bill with you. And that bill will go through the committee process. It'll be vetted properly, and it'll come to this floor, and your bill will also be engrossed, just same way this bill will be engrossed today. And so I would encourage all of us to continue the tradition of engrossing revenue bills for that very reason. Otherwise, we may have another 3-hour debate on this floor on this amendment like we had yesterday on the resolution that I brought to this chamber. Mr. President, I'll yield the well.
Recognize the senator from the 53rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. Every day I'm reminded to count my blessings. And today's one of those days. I count my blessings every day, and one of the, I think, the most beautiful blessings being a Georgian in the United States is that we have the Second Amendment, our God-given right. Mr. President, I've said it this well many times before. I think it's an infringement upon one's Second Amendment right to tax firearms. You know, and I count some more blessings. Another blessing that I have, Mr. President, is that I am no longer a member of the Majority Caucus. If I was a member, I would not be allowed to object to the Majority Leader's motion to engross this bill. That would be grounds for removal. But I'm already out of the caucus. Mr. President, this is a reason to be blessed. All I have is a simple amendment. This is the second time in a week that I have brought this amendment to this well. The first time, the Majority Caucus kind of had an excuse. There were two bills that were being engrossed, one that concerned elections and the other was a finance bill. Right now, that excuse does not exist. This is a motion to engross one bill. And what I'm hearing from the Majority Leader, he would rather shut my side of the debate out because he doesn't want to debate the Democrats in the Minority Caucus. I ask, as the senator from the 14th said, we move forward, but we don't move forward with engrossment. We move forward with debate because this is the Georgia Senate. We're not afraid to debate. So I ask that you vote no, like I commonly do. I'd like to see a red light up there. Vote no on engrossment. And let's finally put an end to taxes on our Second Amendments. The same argument rings true like it did last week. Taxes only affect law-abiding citizens. The outlaws, they're not paying taxes, Mr. President. You know, I talked about the rifle team and the shotgun team of our local high school. When they go to the store to buy ammunition, they have to pay taxes. I don't think they should have to. When that young family, like I mentioned last week, is seeing the news of all the crazy stuff and the indentured servants of the Colombian cartels robbing people's houses and they go out to buy a firearm, they have to pay taxes. Mr. President, my amendment, if it was heard, would no longer force them to pay taxes on their God-given right of the Second Amendment. And I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the motion? All right. We're going to put this up on the board, Senator. So the senator from the 51st is Ask that SB 340 be engrossed. There has been objection from the senator from the 53rd. All those in favor of the majority leader's motion will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the motion, the yeas are 30 and the nays are 18, and so the motion has prevailed. Senators from the 20th, for what purpose do you rise? You want to speak to? Oh, a point of personal privilege. All right, come on, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me to do this out of order. I do want to bring your attention today that we passed this morning Senate Resolution 591 to recognize today, February 13, 2024, as the National Federation of Independent Business Small Business Day. I'm a member of the NFIB, proud member. Small business is the backbone of our state's economy and country's economy. And we have some members of the NFIB in the gallery with us today. I want them to stand and be recognized, please, and I will give them a warm Senate welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from the 6th, what purpose do you rise?
I'd like the unanimous consent for to excuse the senator from the 26th.
Without objection, the senator from 26 is excused. Moving on to the rules calendar. SB 424. Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Bill 424, a bill by Senator Robertson of the 29th and others. A bill to be entitled an act to create a new judicial circuit for the state of Georgia to be known as the West Georgia Judicial Circuit and to be composed of the Carroll County and Heard County. And to amend Article 1 of Chapter 6 of Title 15 of the OCGA relating to general provisions regarding superior courts, so as to revise the composition, terms of court, and number of judges of the Coweta Judicial Circuit and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Judiciary recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Strickland of the 17th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from the 29th to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Colleagues, I think all of you are familiar with this type of legislation. This is a judicial circuit split. The reason it is happening is due to population. I have total county population of average circuit size is 216. Right now, this circuit is running at 380,000 citizens. It is overtaxing the district attorney's office and the public defender's office there in the Coweta circuit. So by doing the split, we would create the West Georgia circuit to go along with it. And just to be clear, the counties impacted would be Carroll, Coweta, Heard, Meriwether, and Troup. We have gotten support throughout the district for this split, primarily from the Superior Court judges, the Superior Court judges and the district attorney there who are promoting this. I do want to point out that the Coweta Judicial Circuit is the 5th largest as far as population goes, the 5th highest civil caseload, and the 4th highest felony caseload out of the 50 circuits in the state. And that is according to the Judicial Council on Georgia's Administrative Office of the Courts. So with that being said, I would encourage everyone to please support this circuit split. Myself and the senator from the 28th have been working on this and would greatly appreciate your support. And with that, Mr. President, if there are no questions, I'll yield the well.
There are no questions, Senator.
Thank you.
Senator from the 28th, you have your light on. You want to speak on behalf of the bill? Come on.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of this measure and just wanted to point out that our areas are growing very rapidly, and there is a little concern in the district that once we do a split, there could potentially be we could potentially be overjudged. But in the way the formula works, that if a judge was removed, then the formula would kick in, and that judge would have to immediately come back in. So this is in no way is going to remove any judges from either of the two proposed circuits, nor should it. And I would not support that, and I'm pretty sure the senator from the 29th would not support that as well. And just wanted to come down and clarify that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill. All those in favor vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 47, the nays are 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. SB 389, no, SB 412. Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Bill 412, a bill by Senator Kennedy of the 18th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Title 43 of the OCGA relating to professions and businesses so as to change certain provisions relating to administrative and civil sanctions against charitable organizations, paid solicitors, and solicitor agents for certain violations, to provide for suspension and revocation of registrations and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Regulated Industries and Utilities recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Kauser of the 46th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize Pro Tem, Senator from the 18th. Speak to the measure.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning still, colleagues. I bring to you Senate Bill 412. And this bill simply does, as you'll look in your notebook, it simply raises the administrative fines that unlawful charities, the key to this being unlawful charities and those who solicit donations illegally, can face. Currently, the unlawful charitable organizations face a penalty of $250 for a single occurrence, or only a maximum of $500 for multiple violations. We've seen the State Charities Division investigate complaints from donors for quite some time now that were duped by fake charities for hundreds of thousands of dollars of these bad actors that are masquerading as legitimate charities or being associated with legitimate charities. And unfortunately, no matter how much money they have duped our citizens out of, the maximum fine that can be levied is $500. These are, quite frankly, viewed by these bad actors and these bad organizations as just a cost of doing business. So they pay the $250 or their $500, and they go right back to the streets, knocking on our doors, calling our folks, and using the phones to raise money inappropriately for charities and for under false pretenses. The bill raises the fine for a single violation of up to $10,000 or a maximum of $100,000 for multiple violations. Happy to answer any questions about this or give you examples of where the Charities Division has had to deal with the frustration of trying to stop these bad actors, and they simply don't have the ability to levy fines that have real teeth in them. Y'all, this is a good bill to stop bad actors from taking advantage. This is one that ought to light the board up green from everybody. Repeat, everybody really ought to vote green on this. If you want to support people that are out hoodooing, as we say, and defrauding Georgian citizens under false pretenses for charities, vote no on it. But if you want to do the right thing and stop these bad actors, please vote green. Thank you. Mr. President, I'm happy to answer any questions, or I'll yield the well.
You have no questions, Senator.
Thank you.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none, and the report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 47, the nays are 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Secretary Reed, SB 389.
Senate Bill 389, a bill by Senator Payne of the 54th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 4 of Article 3 of Chapter 2 of Title 38 of the OCGA relating to rights, privileges, and prohibitions so as to provide for the Adjutant General to be the official sponsor of the state-sponsored life insurance program for the National Guard and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Insurance and Labor recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Walker of the 20th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from the 54th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Everybody having a good morning? I'm going to give you the opportunity to make it even a better day, because today I'm bringing you an agency bill, which is Senate Bill 389. This bill is simple one reason: make sure that our men and women of the Georgia National Guard maintain life insurance. So this is the Commissioner of Insurance, Commissioner John King, supports this bill strongly, which aimed at aligning state law with federal regulations, specifically addressing the provisions of state-sponsored life insurance to members of the Georgia National Guard. I'd ask for your favorable support. Is there any question, Mr. President? I will yield. If not any questions, I will yield the well.
I'm sorry. Do have one question, Senator. Senator from the 14th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Does the senator yield?
I do yield.
Senator, I think it's a great bill, totally worth passing. Would you be open to a favorable amendment to completely replace the bill with a bill about navigable waterways for fishermen and sportsmen?
I would not be open to that.
Okay, that's fine. We'll do it later. Thanks so much, Senator.
Mr. President, I yield the will.
Does any other senator wish to rise, speak for or against the bill? Hearing none. Does any other senator wish to speak? Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none, and the report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none, and the main question is ordered. The question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 47 and the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. SB 426. Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Bill 426, a bill by Senator Tillery of the 19th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Title 40 of the OCGA relating to motor vehicles and traffic, so as to revise requirements for joining of a motor carrier and motor carrier's insurer to a cause of action, to provide for subrogation for unpaid final judgments relative to causes of action involving motor carriers, and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Judiciary recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Strickland of the 17th District Chairman. Senator Moore of the 53rd offers the following amendment number 1 to amend Senate Bill 426 by striking on line 13 only when, and replacing with when motor carrier operates 10 or less motor vehicles, or when. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from the 19th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I present to this body Senate Bill 426. It's a bill that in some shape, form, or fashion has been before our body for the past 4 or 5 years and has never been able to make it across. But due to the work of all parties this side giving just a little bit, and the Lieutenant Governor behind me, strong push for fairness in our system of Georgia, I do think it has a great chance this year and hope you will consider it. In its simplest form, what Senate Bill 426 does is it moves Georgia from the minority of states right now that allow a direct action to proceed against a insurance company in a motor carrier case into the majority of cases that do not allow that except under certain circumstances. We're not going whole hog towards ending direct action. We are, though, saying that if you can't perfect service against the motor carrier, against the driver who was probably the original tortfeasor, or if you've got issues where the original motor carrier has now insolvent and cannot be served for that purpose, that direct action could proceed, but only in those instances. The trade-off here is twofold. One, we know that a lot of insurers in our state have stated that their rates are unfairly rising, and they think it's because that insurance companies can be named in actions. On the other side, you have folks who've been hurt, maybe in an automobile accident, who've tried to bring a claim and said, hey, listen, if we can't perfect service, we can't get recovery at all anyway, so we need some help perfecting service. What this bill does is it blends those two things, allows for an incentive to help with the service issue from the plaintiff's side, and allows potentially insurers to avoid being directly named like they're able to avoid in every other action besides motor carriers in Georgia, in situations where they are able to help make that service be perfected. Again, this would not have been possible without compromise on all sides. I don't think that any party is completely happy with the result, but I do think this moves this issue forward for Georgians. It hopefully helps regulate, stabilize, and then reduce insurance rates for our motor carriers, many whom are small companies just trying to make ends meet across our state, especially when we know our ports are expanding every day and we have more and more cargo that has to move not just across our state to our citizens, but we are the door and the gateway to the world. I know there's an amendment, Mr. President, if you want, I can wait and speak to that afterwards. I would tell you that this is a very carefully crafted compromise that has gone through many rounds and that no one is 100% happy with, and that amendments likely could cause that compromise to fail for a sixth year. I would ask that we think very carefully about amendments, and I'll speak to them at the right time. I do know that every senator can propose amendments, as is their right to do so. So, Mr. President, if there are no questions, I'll yield the will.
You do have a few questions, Senator. I recognize the senator from the 51st.
Will the senator yield?
Yes, sir.
Senator, are you feeling okay today? I mean, I was a
Well, I'm
little
not
worried.
getting everything I want, Mr. Leader, but I don't think anybody is. So I hope that in the end, that's what makes this a good bill.
Well, I'd love having you on our team. Thank you for bringing this great piece of legislation. Let's move forward.
I love having you on mine too, Mr. Leader.
Recognize the senator from the 48th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator, do you yield?
Yes, sir.
Senator, on each of our desks is a letter from the Georgia Chamber of Commerce encouraging all of us to support this bill. Last year, I was honored by that organization as the Freshman Legislator of the Year, and I was wondering, are you trying to steal that title from me with this bill?
Well, I do look up to you a lot, Senator from the 48th. And I've got another bill about leaf blowers that when we're done with this one I would like to see if you'll sign on to with me.
Recognize the senator from the 46th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Will the senator yield?
Yes, sir.
Senator, you've mentioned several times this is a carefully crafted compromise. Would you share with us who else was at the table during these negotiations? Example, was the insurance industry, was the Georgia Chamber, was Georgia defense lawyers, or any body there negotiating with you?
My understanding, Senator, is that members of the insurance industry were intimately involved in drafting this bill. I can promise you something as a trial lawyer, this isn't something that I would necessarily like. It's not something that I would necessarily adopt. I understand that sometimes naming the insurance carrier is the only way you can get a case to settle. And the other option is to let it pen for 2 or 3 years. So by bringing those groups together and helping resolve a issue that plaintiffs' lawyers do have on service, I do think we finally reached a bill that could possibly cross this floor this year.
So you brought those groups together in drafting this bill?
No, I wish I could claim credit for it, Mr. Senator, but I can't claim credit for that. The credit for being able to push that compromise does belong to the man behind me. The Lieutenant Governor saw this bill's failed several times and thought that it was something that we needed to bring together to make pass.
Thank you.
And I appreciate his trust in me and let me carry it.
Recognize the senator from the 31st.
My dear friend in the well, do you yield for a question?
Only genuine questions, Mr. Senator from the 31st, but I know you've got them.
Well, I appreciate that, Senator. I'm sure as an attorney you can spell that back to me. To continue on, do you consider yourself now a champion of tort reform in Georgia?
I don't know that anyone would consider, I don't know that it's fair when a body of 236 people to consider anyone to be the champion. I think we all work together to try to find compromises that bring solutions for Georgians. And I appreciate the fair-minded solution that the Lieutenant Governor and you others in this body have been able to help create.
Okay, I guess that's sort of an answer. Do you further yield?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that Georgia could do without a direct action statute?
Well, there are 36 or 38 states that have tried it. I do think, though, that Georgia has unique issues with our code, with our Title IX, that would, especially related to service, that potentially would be eviscerated if it was done away with completely. Which, again, is why I think this solution is a carefully crafted compromise to help advance the ball, stabilize rates, and I know those are things that you care a lot about.
I appreciate it. Could I read something back to you real quick? Is that allowed? Because you're going to have to, Senator, you further yield?
Yes,
Could
sir.
you explain to me what anti-subrogation and anti-indemnification clauses require the commercial insurance carrier to act just like a general liability policy carrier? Is that in your bill?
Is that in the bill now?
Yeah.
No, sir. I think that might have been in a bill last year, though, that I opposed strongly.
Okay. Thank you, Senator. Thank you for your hard work on this.
Thank you.
Recognize Senator from 56.
Thank you, Mr. President. Does Senator yield?
Yes, sir.
Senator, just one quick question. You gave a lot of credit to our
know
president
where
of
this
this
is going.
body, and you gave
Can
a
I
lot
go
of
ahead and
credit
say
to
it for you?
GTLA and others.
Yeah.
Are they using you as some type of a puppet in
How
this
did
process?
I know that was coming? I could feel that.
Let me see.
I could feel that coming. I could feel that coming. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Well, I can tell you there are no strings attached to this one, so hopefully they'll be able to make it across the floor in the end.
Well said.
Mr. President, if there are no further questions, I'll yield the will.
You might as well.
Thank you.
All right. We do have an amendment. Senator from 53rd, would you like to speak to your amendment?
Thank you, Mr. President. The author of the bill talked a lot about compromise and how much work was put into this piece of legislation. As the legislation stands now, I'm a no, but I'm trying to compromise. I'm trying to get to a green light. And that's what my amendment would do. You see, what I want to do with this amendment is pretty simple. I want to protect the innocence of our small business owners. You see, if a small trucking company finds themselves in an accident and say they're completely innocent, but, you know, the big strong-arm billboard comes after them, well, before, through direct action, the insurance company would handle it even if they were innocent. But now they're going to have to fight that big, strong attorney, and ultimately, if they lose, then they're going to have to go fight their big insurance company. I worry that when this is passed, it's going to greatly hinder our small business trucking companies. Because a trucking company, say, for my Democrat friends, say a legal immigrant comes over and they're looking for a job, and they become a truck driver, okay? They have, say, $200,000 invested into that truck. They're out on the highway, they find themselves in an accident. Are they going to lose their truck fighting for their innocence in a court of law? Direct action protects that. You see, when the small trucking company hires an insurance company, they know by law the insurance company also gets the cause of action. So, to me, this amendment, when motor carriers operate 10 or less motor vehicles, direct action can still be included. I don't know if you will vote for it or vote against it, but I'll certainly be able to go to bed tonight with a clear conscience, knowing that I offered this amendment, Mr. President, and I will yield for questions.
You have no questions, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President.
We have a late arriving amendment here. Secretary, read the caption.
Senator McLaurin of the 14th offers the following Amendment 1A to amend Amendment 1 by inserting the word "the" between "when" and "motor" on line 2 and replacing "striking" with "striking" on line 1. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Senator, you recognize the senator from the 14th. Speak to his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just think the senator from the 53rd should get a clean shot at his amendment, and English shouldn't stand in the way of that. Thank you, Mr. President.
If anybody understood that, you let me know. All right. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? So we're going to take up Amendment 1A authored by the senator from the 14th. Is there objection to Amendment 1A? There's no objection to Amendment 1A. Amendment 1A is adopted. Is there objection to the amendment from the senator from the 53rd? Amendment 1. There's objection from the senator from the 46th. All those in favor of Amendment 1. All those in favor of Amendment 1. Sure. I apologize. Let me let the senator from the 19th close.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, members, for your questions and for your help. And I just want to speak, first of all, in closing the debate. This is a bill that's been in our body for multiple years. I do think it's a chance and the time for getting it across the finish line. I hope you'll help me with that. To the senator from the 53rd Amendment, first of all, I want to tell him I appreciate him. Thank him. He brought this amendment to me before he introduced it. He did it the exact right way when you would do it, and I appreciate that. Thank you. The one thing, though, I would ask is that we oppose this for these reasons. Here's why. In the direct action statute, I understand the thought process that having the insurance company involved with you helps you, protects you from a liability standpoint if you're a small motor carrier. But I think it's actually going to have the inverse effect with this bill. What this bill hopes to do is stabilize and reduce the rates of insurance in the market. And if it's successful at that, if we were to take and carve out small motor carriers of less than 10, then we're going to set up a two-tiered system that I'm afraid you'll have one bill for those of less than 10 who can be sued by direct action, and then another bill for those of 11 to 999, which would set up a second tier of a cheaper insurance that those smaller businesses would not be able to apply to. So by taking and putting them in an aggregate group, I think what we're able to do for the whole is reduce the cost on the 1 to 10s even more. So I would ask you to oppose Amendment 1 for that reason. Thank you, Mr. President. Again, appreciate you your listening today, and I hope that we can get this bill across the floor for final passage in the Senate. I yield the will.
All right. Still on Amendment 1 from the senator from the 53rd. We have objection from the senator from the 46th. On the adoption of Amendment 1, all those in favor of adoption of Amendment 1, rise, stand, and be counted. On adoption of Amendment 1, rise, stand, and be counted. Reverse. On the motion, the yeas are 2 and the nays are 40. The motion fails. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the passage on the bill. All those in favor of the bill will vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 46, the nays are 2, and the senator from the 19th remains undefeated here. And this, having received a requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. 19th is tough. Secretary will read caption SB 334.
Senate Bill 334, a bill by Senator Albros of the 56th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 25323 of the OCGA relating to minimum requirements, equipment and clothing, and insurance relative to local fire departments generally, so as to revise qualifications for insurance coverage for firefighters diagnosed with cancer and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Insurance and Labor recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Walker of the 20th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from the 56th.
Thank you, Mr. President. In 2017, this General Assembly passed the Firefighter Cancer Act. Each and every one of our fire departments that are chartered by our cities and counties purchased an insurance plan for firefighters who are suffering from certain types of cancer. My brothers and sisters in the fire service have an increased risk and rate of cancer many times greater than the public. And sadly, the death rate is also significantly higher. But the bill that we passed in 2017 greatly helped the people in your community who respond in your greatest time of need. This is a very simple cleanup bill. When we originally crafted the legislation, we wanted to make sure someone was at a fire department for 1 year before they would get that insurance. However, we did not want to have that insurance have a gap if they move from one fire department to the next fire department. This simply closes that gap and assures that that coverage is kept and we protect our men and women in the fire service. I want to thank the chairman of insurance, senator from the 20th. I want to thank the senator from the 54th, whose son is an active firefighter now. I know how proud of a father he is. Senator from the 51st, who served as a fire captain years ago, and all of you that support your local fire services. If there are no questions, Mr. President, I will yield the well.
You have no questions, Senator.
Thank you.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none, and the main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill. All those in favor vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 48, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. SB 340 on the rules calendar. Secretary, read the.
Senate Bill 340, a bill by Senator Kirkpatrick of the 32nd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 4883 of the OCGA relating to exemptions from sales and use taxes, so as to exempt sales of firearm safes and firearm safety devices and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Finance recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Huff-Settler of the 52nd District Chairman. A fiscal note is attached. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from the 32nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, all of us want to protect our children from accidental injuries, including those of us who are lawful gun owners. This bill is simply an incentive for lawful gun owners to purchase safe storage devices, including firearm safes and firearm safety devices such as trigger locks, by exempting them from Georgia's sales tax. The fiscal note is on your desk. Many other states have passed this legislation. I'd ask you for your support, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
You have no questions, Senator.
Thank you. I yield the will.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. The question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 46 and nays are 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Moving on. Secretary, please read HB 63.
House Bill 63, a bill by Representative Williams of the 148th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 333013 of the OCGA relating to furnishing claims experience policyholders, so as to require insurers providing policies for groups of 20 or more to timely furnish claims experience at the request of a group policyholder and for other purposes. The Committee on Insurance and Labor recommended this do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Walker of the 20th District Chairman. Insurance and Labor Committee offers the following substitute to House Bill 63, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 333013.1 of the OCGA relating to furnishing claims experience to policyholders, so as to require insurers providing policies for groups of 20 or more to timely furnish claims experience at the request of a group policyholder and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from the 16th.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill is dealing with really group insurance for small business. This is a small business bill. And what has happened in the past is that unless you were 50 or more, you could not get your claims experience. And what this does, it drops it down to 20, and they can ask for the claims experience and have that. Has to do when they're doing partial self-funding or if they're already handling larger deductibles. And that's what the bill does, just simply giving lower numbers the same ability as those at higher numbers from 20 to 50.
You have no questions, sir?
No question.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objections to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Question is on the adoption of the committee substitute. Is there objection to the adoption of the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. Is there objection to the agreeing to the report of the committee, which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill by substitute. All those in favor will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 45 and the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. I recognize the majority leader for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate stand adjourned pursuant to H.R. 978 until 10 a.m. on Thursday, February 15th.
The majority leader has moved. Secretary, read the announcements.
The Children and Families Committee will meet at 1 p.m. in 307 of the CLOB. The Rules Committee will meet at 1:30 p.m. in 450. The Education and Youth Committee will meet at 2:30 p.m. in 450. The Interstate Cooperation Committee will meet at 4 p.m. in 125. The Regulated Industries and Utilities Committee will meet at 4 p.m. in 450. And the Ethics Committee will meet at 5 p.m. in 307 of the CLOB. That completes the order, Mr. President.
All right. The majority leader has moved. Gentlemen, do not forget, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. I know most of you think the world centers around you, but you better remember that significant other back home. So, talking to the men mostly, ladies, talking to the men. So, all right, the majority leader has moved. All those in favor will say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes clearly have it. We're adjourned.